Firstly, thank you for the people who have subscribed and got lots of questions and feedback. So that's been really good. So thank you for that. I'm also a part of Real Vision and the Real Vision Exchange, which is their forum, which is linked to the main website. So all the subscribers and stuff can talk and post their own things on there. Obviously, being a Hedgeye sub, I've been sharing my thoughts based on the information that I'm getting from Hedgeye. And if anyone also follows Raoul Powell, he had a big piece about a week ago about all the craziness that he saw in the market and thought it was going to be a big, thought there was going to be a big calamity, a big sell-off. And based on the back of that, I posted my first ever hashtag buy the effing dip, based on my conviction that I've got from Keith and from the Hedgeye team. It's the first time I'd ever said it. It was funny. Anyway, it didn't stop me going into that weekend. Obviously, Raoul had taken the time to make a video over the weekend, and you do think, okay, he's a clever guy, he's been doing this for a long time. But it doesn't stop you from thinking these things, like going through into the weekend and thinking, oh God, what's going to happen on Monday? But anyway, the conviction comes from so I've only been a subscriber for 3 years. Has there been a few little mistakes along the way? Yes, but they're tiny in comparison to the things that the team have got right. And the things that went wrong were exacerbated by my own mistakes of kind of the thinking, adding to losers. That's my own thing. That's something that everyone has, a problem that everyone has. So the part of the process is you cut losers quickly. So just because something is strong in a quad, it doesn't mean it's going to be strong this time round. Just because, I don't know, XLP is strong in whatever, quad 2, it might not be this time round. That's why, and this is the part of the video, because I've been getting a few questions, replies to the previous YouTube videos. When we hit a quad transition, this is why it pays to have all the different parts, because if you're only an ETF Pro subscriber, it only gets updated. Well, the levels get updated once a week. If it's a big change, Darius will update, take something out, put something in. But it's a great product, but the time frame is only monthly, and at the longest term, obviously quarterly, because it's based on the quads. That's why it pays to have all the different things, because you can start to hear the Keith especially, and any of the other people that come in and host the show every now and again. You hear them talking and you can tell when things, it doesn't mean that they're changing immediately, but you can tell when things are changing. And a lot of the questions to the videos, a lot of the questions that come up in the macro show, and people think that I'm making this YouTube to kind of obviously make it into some sort of channel. No, it's very selfish. The reason why I'm making these videos is to stop the stupid questions in the macro show queue, so that we can have better questions in the queue. I would much rather make some of these videos, and even if just 1 or 2 of them are good, to say, if the top question in the macro show is on X, then Keith can say, go and watch that video, instead of answering it over and over and over again. I know that sounds very selfish, but I pay for the product, and every time a big new bunch of subscribers come on, it's the same questions over and over again. Okay, everyone has to learn. I done exactly the same thing 3 years ago, and then every time, normally when a quad 4 comes around and there's a whole bunch of new subscribers, it's the same over and over again in like a yearly or a 6-monthly time frame, just over and over again, the same questions over and over. So I agree. I hope they update some of the videos, or it would be great if they can just reference and say, hey, this boring English dude has made a video, go and watch that. But the one thing that keeps coming up, and now obviously quad isn't changing for a little while, for 3 or 4 months. When the quad changes, make the allocation change. Buy a little bit of everything for that quad. You know, if it's an ETF, if it's whatever, if it's XLE and maximum position is 6%, buy 2%. Just do it. If we're going from one quad where you've owned loans of treasuries, you've got oodles of TLT, and the next quad is not good for TLT, then sell half of it and carry on. Even if you've made loads of money, it'll feel horrible, and it feels even worse from something that you've made loads of money in to not only selling it, but then the talk is of shorting it after you've just made lots of money in it for 2 years, okay? But all these questions come up, and it's part of this, why I've referenced this, the Real Vision forum, okay? So there, literally just now, you can start to see the inflation posts coming, okay? People are just starting to post now about inflation, even though as part of Hedgeye, we've been long commodities since June last year. The posts are only just coming now. And the reason why they're questioning all these sorts of different things of how they're having to change their allocation. But the reason why I'm quite relaxed is because my problem is different. I've been in all these things. I'm in all these things. I'm already there. I've already have the allocation. Okay? So now it frees me to think and to watch the macro show and to read the early look in a different way, not to chase to have to try and add or make my allocation bigger. But now I can watch it calmly, making decisions in different ways because now I'm looking for the next change, not to front run, but to notice the things that are changing because I'm already in the things that I'm in. That's the power of Hedgeye. I'm already in the things that people are talking about now, and I've been in them for 6 months. So my decision process is different. I don't have to chase. I don't have to worry about things going to the bottom of the bottom of the range. Oh, I'll never go to the range. I'll never go to the bottom of the range. When do I buy? Because I'm already in it, and that's the hardest bit. It is the hardest part. Is when it changes. You have to make the change because obviously we had a dip recently where you could add into all those things, and first thing straight away, first macro show back after the Friday, big sell-off. Keith issued a load of buys at the bottom of the range. Very first thing was, next thing, everything's up and to the right. Did you buy enough? Because it felt like crap. It honestly felt like crap buying these things when they were down because there was all sorts of, GameStop's going to blow up the market, all these OTC, blah, 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 and options and doodah and whatever. There was all sorts of posts about everything making you say, well, why would I buy when there's all this stuff, all these people are worrying about stuff? And the point is they're always going to worry about that stuff because they're always chasing, they're always being reactive instead of proactive. So their mind's always going to try and jump straight away to why is this wrong? What's going wrong? As opposed to, we're in quad 2, things are going down and things are going to go up again. So buy it. Then you don't have to make those questions. So next week when the market's up 200 points or whatever it is, you're not chasing. Oh, I was wrong last week and I sold last week and now I have to buy it all again. It's the hardest thing, but it's made easier by when the quad changes and everything changes and they say, right, we're in quad 2. If you just make, again, it's up to you. It's your decision. It's not buy everything. You don't buy a whole 6% allocation of XLE because we're changing to quad 2. I don't do it that way. Maybe you buy half, maybe you buy 3% position. I choose 2. But again, I chose 2 because I know that in quad 2, there's like 50 things you can buy. So my max position in XLE actually isn't 6%, it's 5%, because I know that there's more things. You know, in quad 4, there's only 10 or 12 things that you'll really buy because everything's going down. Whereas in quad 2, there's 50 things because everything's going up. So it's much easier to get like a 10% position in TLT and 12% in gold and 12% in the dollar because there's not many things going up. Whereas now in quad 2, you've got a whole plethora of things, all the investment ideas, all the different individual stocks you can pick. So the need to have a 6% position in XLE, the other thing is it makes it harder because you're having to manage 50 positions instead of managing 10 or 12 positions, which you might be in quad 4. So it's got its whole different set of problems and difficulties. But it's made so much easier if you're just able to, when the quad changes, buy 1, 2, 3%, whatever you feel comfortable of every of the strong positions, you know, the strongest FX position, the top 3 or 4 ETFs, the top 3 or 4 factor ETFs. If you get that small position right at the change, it makes all your decisions from that point easier because you're ahead of the curve as opposed to trying to chase the curve and where the curve is going. So yes, you'll still be ahead of the crowd, just like I've said here with all the posts that are coming now on the exchange. All of them are just starting to talk about inflation and buying commodities, adding commodities and everything else, okay? So you'll be ahead of that lot, so you'll be ahead of this lot, but you'll still be chasing the Hedgeye team because the positions will already be there. And that's when these questions come up about such and such never goes to the bottom of the range. And then obviously when that starts coming up in the queue, it means, okay, it's probably going to come to the range soon because everyone's chasing it. Everyone thinks that they're never going to get into it. But anyway, this has turned into a much longer video than I really wanted to. So yeah, no charts, just boring video, boring screens anyway, and just my boring voice. Just when the quad changes, get an allocation of all the quad positions. Whatever size you decide, 1, 2, 3% of every position that's strong in that quad. And then, you know, if one of them doesn't perform well, you can cut it, but you can do it safe in the knowledge that those other positions will tend to be doing well. So you can make a decision from a position of strength instead of a position of weakness and trying to chase something. Okay. Yeah, again, much longer video. Sorry about that, but hope it helps. Cheers. Bye.